Hi, my name is Rachel, and today I'm going to tell you about stuff that I read recently that I did not get to talk to you about in other videos because I just didn't know where to put them. I didn't have enough for a dedicated review, so here's a recent reads video for you. These have gotten read over the past few months. So first and foremost, I want to talk about this book, Blood at the Root by Ladarian Johnson. So just to get it out of the way, there was some discussion about this book. I don't feel qualified to talk about that. I think that all reviews are valid, and whatever everybody else's opinions on it, I think you are valid. So I will leave my friend D. Fredder's review down below if you want to listen to him talk about it. I will say that I enjoyed it while reading it. I understand if there's issues with it. It's about a 17-year-old boy named Malik, and 10 years before the events of the book, his mom mysteriously vanishes, and he finds out that he has magic, uncontrollable powers. He keeps these powers hidden. He is in foster care. He has a younger foster brother named Tay. He was kicked out of that foster home. He comes back to grab Tay and start their life together. And as he and Tay are, heading out, he runs into this guy who says, "Hey, I'm going to take you to go see your grandma." They end up at Malik's mom's house, and she's like, "Hey, you're going to attend Cayman University because that is the magic school, and that's where your mom attended, and that's where you need to go." He starts looking for answers about his powers, his family heritage, and trying to find out what really happened to his mom. There's a girl at school named Alexis who he was previously in a foster home with, so they start hanging out. A romantic connection develops between them, and then he finds out that there are there's divisions in the magical community. People don't always agree with each other. There's magical politics going on, and there is something killing the children. Not this book. It's this book. There's an evil dating back long ago that is reawakening and killing children. If you know my reviews at all, you know that I am a sucker for stories about kids in foster care because of what happened to my grandfather. I've talked about this a little before. Sometimes I have to DNF books if it's making me too emotional. Reading about a kid in foster care, my grandfather was given up. He never knew who his parents were. He never knew his real last name. He never knew if he had any siblings. He grew up in foster care, was never adopted. He lived in 17 different foster homes from the time he was a baby to the time he was 18. And then he joined the military, started a family, and the only people he ever met who he knew who he was related to were his own kids. And this greatly affected my entire family. It affected how he raised his kids, who then raised me. So I am deeply affected by stories of kids in foster care, particularly boys. I got this book from Libro FM, from their advanced lister copy program, and it's immaculately done on audiobook, which was part of the reason that I had such a good time with it. Carlos also started it, and he couldn't help but read several hours of it in one go because it's just so easy to listen to. The narrator himself is 17 years old and just really adds a lot of authenticity to his reading of it. I mean, it's a 17-year-old narrating a 17-year-old. So it just really feels like he is the character rather than sometimes I'm reading, even reading An Ember in the Ashes, sometimes I'm like, man, these really sound like adults right now. I'm honestly blown away by the narrator's ability to voice act. I mean, he's on a TV show, I think All American, which Carlos also watched. I'm really just blown away by his ability to voice act so effectively. And I mean, not only voicing the character, because he's the only voice actor, but bringing to life all the characters. He had to do different accents. He did such a good job. Also, the audiobook has sound effects, which really added to the ambiance, and I'm sort of a sucker for sound effects audiobooks. It's why I enjoy Star Wars audiobooks so much. So I thought that the writing was quite good. I thought that there was I remember a line that sort of made me cry. Where when Malik finally meets back up with Alexis, it says, "Me and Alexis are like the sea and the land, distant for a while, but always come together at the edge of the world." And I thought that was so beautiful, how they met back up after several years of being apart, after no longer being in the same foster home. And they just met back up at the edge of the world. And it was like they were right back where they left off. But I think that the impact this had on me, again, because of my background with my grandpa, which my grandpa, again, he never knew anything, but I do, because when my son was born, I just looked at him and I was like, I just want to know everywhere that you have come from. And so I decided to solve our family mystery. Who was my grandpa's parents? And it turned out that they were a couple who had never, I don't really know the details. What I do know is that they were not together long term if they were together more than a one night thing. I have no idea. I don't know. What I do know is that I got his entire foster care file, and what is inside of that thick file is a heartbreaking saga of abandonment by his mom. So the thing about Malik, and I'm going to spoil a bit of the book, is that he remembers his mom through rose-colored glasses. And I think that we have a tendency to think of people who we have love for, who are our ancestors, our people who came before us, with just like immediate fondness, not really realizing that they may not give a shit about us, and sometimes ignoring their red flag behavior. So reading through my grandpa's foster care file and realizing that his grandma, or his mother, was my great grandma, she had a hard life, but she was sort of a selfish person who, turns out, didn't raise any of her kids. Malik goes through something similar where he has looked back. He just wants to know what happens to his mom. And then when finally retrieves his mom, he then realizes, I forgot all the red flags. All I could focus on was getting my mom back. And I forget all the times that she was abusive towards me. And previously, before this, he had told his mentor, I think the scariest part isn't even that night, the night his mom went missing, anymore. It's me forgetting her. Memories really do fade over time. It's me actually moving on that scares him the most. I don't think I've ever said that out loud before. So I think that grieving somebody who might still be alive, and then when they are still alive, grieving the loss of who you thought they were, was so well done. And because of my deep emotional connection to what happened to my grandpa, who was a foster kid, and his relationship or lack of with his mom, and what I know about his mom, it was hard for me to not feel so deeply connected to this book. I really loved the magic in it. I really loved the magic school setting in it, but it's that piece, that emotional connection, that just really struck a chord with me. And that's why I rated this so high. Again, everybody's feelings are valid. I can't review from an own voice's perspective. All I can tell you is I went into this book and I had a very particular emotional experience because of my grandpa's stuff in foster care and my journey to solve that family mystery. I also had to explain all of that to my family, which was horrifying. I had to explain, hi, I went and found your father's entire history that nobody ever knew, and it's horrifying. It took a long time for my aunts to process what was in that file. So like reading this book was sort of cathartic for me because I had that experience. Let's talk about something a little bit less, I don't want to cry. It takes me a long time to put on this makeup just for people 10 years younger than me to then make fun of how I look. So, let's not cry and make it look worse than I guess it already looks. Another thing I read recently was Crown Chasers by Rebecca Coffindoffer. And Rebecca is actually a viewer of mine who I love and adore, just like full disclosure. Somebody sent me this. I believe it was Garrison who sent me this. I didn't save the paper. I'm really bad about that. Oh no, and I got my snack on it. Great. I'm really good at books, guys. This is a sci-fi book. This is everything that I wanted Aurora Rising to be. This is about Alyssa Farashti, or Alyssa Farshot, who is just running around space doing whatever the fuck she wants with her mechanic, who she has a physical relationship with. His name is Hell Monkey, which at first I was like, Hell Monkey? Sort of stupid. By the end, I loved it. Her uncle is the emperor. Her mom sacrificed everything so that there would be peace. And her uncle and his husband have been, in power for decades. And then her uncle's husband shows up and he's like, hey, you need to come see your uncle. He's dying. And his dying wish is for there to be a crown chase and for Alyssa to take part in it. So the crown chases, representatives from each of the empire's main families will be put in this intergalactic race to find the royal seal, which has been hidden somewhere. You have to be the first to find the seal to win the throne. However, there is another person at play here. I mean, there's several people in the race, but one of them is a little deadly. And Alyssa doesn't want to be empress. She is just like, I'll do my duty to my uncle, but I don't want to win this shit. But again, competition sort of turns deadly and the fate of the empire is at stake. So her and Hell Monkey and then this cast of characters that is also competing in this crown chase are dealing with all kinds of shit. Also, she's pansexual. You can actually, I don't know how well you can see it, but You can see her and another one of the characters. I love this cover. I love it it's so good. So this is everything that I wanted Aurora Rising to be. We're running around. We have a cast of characters. I mean, it's all in Alyssa's POV, but then you also get POVs from the bad guy. And it's just good intergalactic fun. A little murder happens. You know, what are you going to do? But it's just good intergalactic fun. I also think that this was incredibly sex positive, which is great. Not me and her having the same bangs. Alyssa, twin. If you want something that's like all the fun of Han Solo, but you were disappointed by Aurora Rising, you should try this. Hell Monkey is so fun and funny. He's like such a golden retriever. No, he's a himbo. He's like the mechanic himbo, and she is just so fun. She a little bit needs to lay off the alcohol, but I love her interactions with Hell Monkey. I was not rooting for them at the beginning. I was like, what is this? And why is his name Hell Monkey? But by the end, I was like, they're so cute. But also the romance is like barely, it's not really a huge thing in here. It's super backseat. I'm glad it was there, but I'm so glad that it wasn't front and center. This is just good old-fashioned, not old-fashioned. This is good new-fashioned sci-fi fun. There's another YA sci-fi series that I enjoyed by Claudia Gray, who also writes Star Wars books, and I like this. Like, it's a solid 3.5, but this is like a 4. I really had fun with this. This is like a 4.25. Highly recommend if you're looking for sci-fi fun with queer characters, little bit of murder, himbo mechanic guy. I mean, he gets his own backstory and everything. I just wasn't expecting him, like when he comes on page and he's called Hell Monkey, I'm like, boo. And then by the end, I was like, if you take Hell Monkey from me, I will riot. He's our himbo mechanic husband. I had a lot of fun with this. Please try it. Let me know if you've tried it. Oh no, now I have to talk about another sad one. Oh God. Okay, the berry pickers. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I am a normal person who does not cry about every single thing. Okay. The berry pickers were in blueberry fields in Maine. We're in the 1960s originally. And there's this family, and they are a native family, a Mi'kmaq family, and they're from Canada. They come down to Maine to pick blueberries in Maine for the summer. Weeks into this, their youngest, a 4-year-old named Ruthie, vanishes, and her brother Joe was sort of like in charge of watching her, and Ruthie vanishes, and this absolutely devastates this family. In particular, Joe never recovers from having, he feels, failed his duty to take care of his sister. Years later, in Maine, a young girl named Norma is growing up as the only child of a upper-class-ish family. Her mother is not great, and her father's sort of distant and makes excuses for why her mom is the way she is. And Norma, since she's been a child, has been plagued with nightmares, recurring dreams, and visions that seem to her to not just be dreams but be memories, and her mom has always assured her that they are just nightmares. Slowly, she realizes that some things that her parents have told her don't add up, like, why are you guys so pale and I am not? And they tell her, oh, you have an Italian grandfather. Obviously, spoiler alert, Norma is in fact Ruthie, and she finds out after her parents are dead what actually happened. And funny enough, she accidentally ran into one of her brothers, and her aunt pulled her away so that she couldn't talk to him. This was enraging. I gave it 5 stars because like it emotionally devastated me, and I'm so glad I read it. But it's really about like what was lost by this family, all because this woman pulled up and saw a girl sitting alone on a rock and didn't think to ask her, you know, where's your family? Let me check for your family. She just wanted her, pulled up, and took her. And then this child had nightmares until she forgot about her original family because this white lady wanted to raise her, and then didn't even raise her well, didn't even take good care of her. Like emotionally, she was cruel to her, but she saw her and she just wanted her. You go through this process of learning about like, you know, Norma's mom. Oh my God, no, her name is Ruthie. Damn it. Ruthie's mom had gone through so many miscarriages, and this emotionally devastated her. And like, okay, me too, bitch, and I never kidnapped a child. It's not what we do. But it's not like, the book is certainly like the narration is not excusing it. It's just, it's telling you like what Ruthie's mom and dad would have excused it with. And again, a part of this is obviously just racism. They saw a native girl and they thought we could be better parents to her, and they took her, kidnapped her. So you get POVs from Ruthie, you know, experiencing her life and always getting these hints that something's, you know, a lie. But then the other POV you get is Joe. And Joe never recovered from losing Ruthie. It colored his entire life. And it is just this like deep dive into this like emotional upheaval for this family and how it colored the rest of their lives. There was a part, I wish I had a trigger warning because I really did cry a lot. After this book, I definitely couldn't read any more miscarriage or child death stories for a while. It's been a few months and I still can't, because this is like still the time of the year that I can't read that stuff. Ruthie was married to a guy and they were having a baby, and stuff happened and the baby died. And so she tells her husband, hey, I don't want to have any more kids. I don't want to do it again. I don't want to go through what my mother went through. And he's like, well, we can try again. She's like, you're not hearing me. I don't want to. I can't do that again. I'm not emotionally prepared for it. And that, I don't think that we give enough space for people to say that. I mean, like, I don't think that anybody really gave me that space when I was going through mine. Like, it was just an expectation that I would eventually get pregnant again. And we don't really offer the option of like, if you want to be done, you can be done. And like, having been a person who experienced them back to back, like I felt it was so valid for her. She's not even a real person. I don't know why I'm talking like this. It was so valid for her to just be like, I can't do this. And he was so upset. And I was like, I mean, my guy, like, I don't know what to tell you. It's so hard to explain to somebody. Like, sometimes you just don't come back from the first one. And her devastation was just too much for me. Like, I just felt it. I was unwell. That being said, 5 stars, because it was so well written. So much of this book will stay with me for so much time to come. I mean, like, her finally meeting back up with her family, and after like too much devastation has been had, like it's so bittersweet, but there was so much that was lost. It's a weird experience, like grieving things for fictional people, but I really grieved for this family. And for Ruthie in particular, for all that she experienced. She just deserved so much more. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. We have to move on. I can't talk about this anymore. Just read it. It's really good. A book that I recently read that I got from Haymarket, who I have a subscription to, that I wanted to point out, even though it's a children's book. I read it for me. I didn't read it for my kids. I don't know if you know this, but I grew up fundamentalist and evangelical, and my education was terrible. So I've been trying to re-educate myself, and then I realized that my kids are asking me questions that I don't know the answers to. So I'm trying to read books for myself that explain things in language that'll make sense to them so that I can then convey it to them. They will not read anything that isn't a Dragon Ball graphic novel lately, so it's just me on my own reading these books. I can explain basic concepts to them that even I don't understand. All this to say, I got The Everywhere Atom from Haymarket Books, a book about cartoon atoms, and it's explaining everything from like the carbon cycle to, you know, Earth's history, dinosaurs, and how it affects us today. I wouldn't have been allowed to read this at all because my parents don't believe that the climate crisis is a real thing, but I do. So I'm trying to explain that to my kids in a way that, because I'm not very smart. So I am trying to like understand it on like a child level so that I can then teach it to my kids, but also start that baseline understanding for myself because I don't have it. You might be asking, how did you get away in high school with your earth science class? Cheating. I cheated. I didn't have an understanding of anything. I was taught creationism from the ages of 5 to the age of 14, and then I had to cheat my way around earth science in a high school setting, which wasn't hard because my high school setup was sort of shit. The teachers weren't very good in, well, one of them was, but my earth science in 9th grade, my God, that guy was not teaching anything. Okay, I have a couple graphic novels to talk about. Somebody said, I know you don't read graphic novels. I do. I just did this video, which got demonetized because of book banners, but I just did this video where I talked about a couple of graphic novels. They just are not going to show up in your algorithm. So if you want to like know what I'm reading, and that does include graphic novels, you're going to have to hit the bell or go through the catalog of old videos. But I do read graphic novels. I think I have a whole video somewhere on just graphic novels. So I do, and I really like them. I'm reading a few right now. I'm reading this one about zombie squirrels, which is coming out through Penguin. And then I'm also reading this one about werewolves, also through Penguin. So anyway, I love graphic novels. So leave your recommendations down below. I'm sad that people don't think I read them. I swear that the algorithm is really teaching y'all that I am somebody who I'm not. I mean, even this video itself is not going to get picked up. I just plan to put recent reads on it, and the algorithm is going to be like, boo, rant or nothing, bitch. Anyways, I did read graphic novels recently. This is one that I picked up at, shout out Tombolo for my local bookstore in St. Pete. Local, it's 35 minutes away. This is one that I picked up at Tombolo. It was just on the shelf and I was like, I've never seen that before, which is what I love about bookstores, is that I always see stuff that I'm never seeing anywhere else. I'm not seeing it on BookTok. I'm not seeing it anywhere. And I never would have found it if I hadn't strolled my happy ass in there, looked at the graphic novel section and said, that one's coming home with me. You can see, I'll try to show you a little bit of it. The art is great. This is a fantasy graphic novel. Is this upside down? He's upside down. Okay, sorry, I got confused. Okay, so you can see the art is real good. This is about a world that is dying and there are only humans and orcs. Well, and then there's a third. And humans and orcs are mortal enemies, but then they have to team up because there is another race that is coming to kill everybody. They're called the Vangol and they come from across the street. What? Across the street, Rachel? Across the sea, bitch! Oh my God, they're coming from across the street with a casserole. Fuck me. So they have this like fragile alliance between humans and orcs, and one orc goes to work with this like human mercenaries to go out and try to find out what's happening with the Vangol. And then her name is Tara, and then her cousin just married in a political alliance for the orcs, and they're trying to, and oh my gosh, it was so cute. So when the orcs get married, they have a wedding hunt, just the two of them. They go out hunting together. It was so cute. I loved it. So anyway, there's like this tenuous partnership between humans and orcs, and it's good. It's fun. The problem is it's too short. It needs to have more, and I don't know when the next one's coming out. It said it was supposed to be out already, and then I can't find it anywhere. So like if anybody has a contact with this, can I have it? Because I would really like to know what happens. Why are they so short? Why don't you make more? I don't understand. Why are you doing this to me? I mean, I literally would have probably rated it higher. I think I gave it like a 3.5. I would have rated it higher if it just had more story to it. Like, we're just not doing enough. But also, I felt like that there's like a fight at the end between the human and the orc who have to like form this alliance. This fight came out of nowhere. I was like, whoa, I know we're doing graphic novels, so we don't have time for prose and we're not like going through the emotions. But we couldn't have added like 2 more pages to make this fight make a little more sense to me. So other than that, I had a great time with this. The art is beautiful. I was totally sucked into it. If you're looking for a fantasy story that isn't like a 500-page book, but you want that same sort of feeling, this will do that for you. So it's called The Hunger in the Dusk by G. Willow Wilson, Chris Wildgoose, and Msasic. Read it. Have fun with it. I had fun. I can't believe somebody said I didn't read graphic novels. Like, that's all this stack is over here. It's just like a stack of graphic novels. This is one that I'm planning to read soon. This one is huge. It's called Lunar New Year Love Story. I love the back of it. Are you kidding me? I also went to a bookstore in Dunedin, Florida, and I got the graphic novel version of Slaughterhouse-5, which I also have a video on, not the graphic novel version, but the regular version, because this is often a banned book. And then I did do a recent video where I reviewed both Banned Book Club, which is a graphic novel, and War Bears, which is written by Margaret Atwood. Yeah, that video got demonetized because I called one of the book banners in my county a rhymes with hunt. And I tagged her. I tagged her friend on Instagram. Whenever I'm doing like book banning content, I put clips of it up on Instagram and I tag her just to be a dick and remind her that I'm still here. And I think she reported it because there's no reason why nobody else would have reported it. It's so stupid. I know it was you, bitch. I know you were here. Anyway, speaking of books that they're going to want to ban, this is a graphic novel for a middle grade audience, age 8 to 12. I also got this at Tombolo Books, which I never would have seen it otherwise. There's not enough graphic novel content creators. There's not enough. Not enough people doing like graphic novels that we don't already talk about. Like, everybody has read Saga. I need you guys to start doing like the nonfiction, which I know is not a novel, but whatever. Graphic whatever the fuck this is. It's called Becoming Who We Are, and I'm really excited to share this with my kid. He just entered into the age range for this. So this is a collection of stories from across the spectrum of life. It's 9 members of the trans community. It's written by a trans author, and all of the art is done by trans artists. So it's all different art styles about these different people. One of them is a scientist. One of them is a forest, what are they called? Forest conservation? What? People who work in the forest? Help me. What is that called? One of them's a teacher. One of them is a firefighter, but also she does like, she likes to be on stage and do, acting. One's a musician. Like, it's just, they're from all walks of life. And it talks about like growing up and understanding that something about them was different. They were not cis, how their families handled that. One of them was living in Bangladesh at the time. One of them, she was in high school and her high school was like, you can only come to prom if you're going to wear a tux. And she ended up on the news saying, absolutely not. She got in touch with the ACLU. So this really packs a punch. It's not a lot of pages, but it's great art. And it's just telling people stories of how they knew they were trans. I think that this offers a lot of hope for like trans kids who can see that, these were people who they knew that they were trans when they were kids. They came out to their families, whether or not their families were supportive, and how they grew up to have these jobs that they loved, doing things they loved with people that they love. Many of them are like, they're married, working for the FDNY. Like, it's just, there's a lot of hope in this. Trans kids really have it rough. And so knowing that there is hope, that it gets better, that you do have a life waiting for you. I mean, at the ages of 8 to 12, like that's life-saving for trans kids. So I highly recommend this one. I'm going to give it to my kid. If he wants to read it, he can. I have like a bookshelf. I just slide stuff on there and I'm like, if you want to read it, read it. But I absolutely loved it. And it's a quick read. Although again, I can't get my kids to read anything that isn't freaking Dragon Ball manga right now. Like I tried to get him to read this and he won't read it. It even looks like my kid. And it's about a kid who does Rubik's Cubes. And he's like, nah, I just want to read about Vegeta. Yeah, but I want to read stuff with you. And I don't read Dragon Ball manga. So now I have to read Dragon Ball manga just to have something to talk about with my kid that isn't Zelda. My kid erased my entire Zelda save. Can you believe that? I'm heartbroken. I actually cried. I'm not going to lie to you. Anyway, here's another one that's on my TBR. This one is again for a middle grade audience, 8 to 12, just like the other one I had in my hand a second ago. And this is about a speed competition, a kid who's like a prodigy entering a speed competition for Rubik's Cubes, which my husband is a Rubik's Cube kid. He's like a Rubik's Cube nerd, self-taught. My husband's a genius. Anyways, that's all the books. If you have graphic novel suggestions for me, leave them down below because I've been in a phase lately. I've been reading a lot of them. I'm reading Washington's Gay General, also a graphic novel, which is a thick one, so that's taken me a while. I'm also reading through Kindred, but it's just so heavy, the graphic novel version. It's just so heavy that I have to take like long breaks from it. Those are my recent reads. Thank you for watching. Leave your recent reads down below or your graphic novel suggestions or both. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye. And before I go, I have to say thank you for being a friend to my Therapy Bills patrons, and those are Alexander, Ashley H, Astra, Astrid P, Brittany Bobitney, Call Me Kodiak, Cami, Choco's Trash for Japanese Mysteries and Thrillers, Chris the Horror Therapist, DJ Rocktopus, EK Casey, Ellie, Emerald Dodge, Aaron with 2 E's, Eric D, GalaxyBot, Jess, John E, Julie D, K, Kaleno K, Casey McKenzie, Quinn, Lady Kittybug, Lady Chips, Lemon Jelly, Lex, Lily B, Max B, Min B, Mommy Zami, Alice, Panoramic Demon, Peggy Lou, I'm a Creepoo, Rain, Reese, SJ, Sadwich Bree, Samar, Scarlet, Shiny, SMK, Steph B, T Delegati, 2 Orbit, Urchin Audrey, White Raven 13, Zorvictia, and Chai Guy. Thank you all so much for being here and being a friend. And before I go, I have to say thank you for being a friend to my Potato Starch Marxist patron. And those are Alejandra, Alicia Needs Caffeine, Althea, Amanda D, Andy, Angelica, Artie the Ninth, Ava, Ballads and Bookends, Beck, Blake Lemon Pants, Bly Lavender, Bookish Brainrot, Bookish by Jenna, Bree, Kate B, Caitlin, Cardinal Ginger, Carlin, Carly, Casper, Kate W, Catherine, Kathy, CJ, Claire Online, Clover's Mom, Colleen, Corwin, Cosmic, Darius, Danielle M, Darren, Desiree Michelle, Dilf Enthusiast, Dorothea, Drive-By Thinker, E.T. Cosgrove, Ebby, Emily A, Emma, Emma K, Aaron H, Ezra Moon, Fiona, Francis, Gadarn, Hannah C, Harpy Kuro, Ilianaka, J.M. Tennant, Jay is on Olympus, Jelly V, Jen Michelle, Jenny G, Jessa Sue, Jill, Jojo Bookish, Juicy Wizard, that's such a good one, Kat H, Catherine M, Katie L, Kaylee C, Kayala, Kendra, Kitten, KMTV, Laughing Cat Dog, Lauren G, Lazarus Ray, Library of Scars, Lindsay M, Lisa B, Lisa L, LP, Luciri, Lustful Octopus, Martin, Maddie, Madison, Man-Eating Plant, Marcella, Marquita, Megan, Malara, May, Molly, Never, Nicole G, Nicole R, Nimeska, Nyan Binary, Owl, Paige P, Penelope, Penny Chilling, Foxglove, Queen Cereal, that's a good one too, Rachel B, Reader Rising, Reba, Rebecca, Rebecca R, Ronnie, Rosie, Rowan, Sikoria, Saintbringer, Sakia Lume, Samantha O, Sammy C, Sarah H, Sarah the Bear, Sarah Z, Shamed, Shannon, Sean, Sisette, Talia, Tiana, Trashcan Teddy, Triple M, Tito Phoenix, and Writer A. Thank you all so much for being a friend.